Hello, my name is Stephanie Porto, and in this assignment, we are going to discuss the business practice and impacts in the real world. The two businesses that we choose to talk about it's Kmart and Tater Cells Hotel. Our group is composed by four members. That is Davi, which will discuss the question one, that is how each business reflects in a specific type of organization structure. Greta, which is going to discuss the question two, that it's what intercultural issues might be present in each business. And lastly, Rachel, that's going to discuss the question three, that is which changes might each business have experienced due technical, geographical, or even legislative changes. And to finish this presentation, I will present a conclusion and an overview about all the topics that we have discussed in this presentation.
As part of the assignment, I will cover the differences and similarities between Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart. First of all, it's important to highlight that the Tattersalls Hotel is within the hotel industry. So the main purpose of the company is to delivery of excellent customer service for the clients, providing different rooms and facilities to satisfy all the customers. On the other hand, Kmart is within the retail industry. So the most important thing of the company is to sell adequate products for all the customers. But if we see on the other side, both companies need to generate income to pay all the fixed costs and the bills that the company have. So they need a qualified employees, qualified professionals to deliver to the customer all the service that they are looking for. As I have mentioned before, Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart are located in two different industries. However, the management of these two companies are structured with the matrix format. This format has a owner or a director on the top, then a different manager for different section of the business. So as we can see on the left image, Tattersalls Hotel, it's within the hotel industry. So they need professional employees to be in the restaurant of the hotel, to coordinate all the events, also an accountant. On the other side, we can see that Kmart needs professionals for the engineering, for the research, manufacturing, and also the materials. These two companies can also have problems within the company as they are different and they are in a different industry, but they can have professional problems due to the miscommunication or customer service problems. And as they are very different for the purpose of each company, they can have differences and also similarities.
In this part of the presentation, we'll discuss intercultural issues that may be present at Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart. We'll look at how these can be managed as well as consider why different issues are likely in the businesses. So firstly, we'll look at Tattersalls Hotel. As the hotel is marketed towards high-income earners, socioeconomic background differences are most likely the driver of potential intercultural issues. So the issue being discrimination based on socioeconomic background, and this can be assumed based on appearance. So an example of this is that if a guest may appear to be from a low or middle socioeconomic class, the managers or the owners may not see that they are entitled to the same treatment or resources as those who appear to be from an upper socioeconomic background. And although these issues, intercultural issues, may not directly impact guests, it does set a precedence that those who seem of high value or wealthy status should be treated better than those who are not, which is deemed unethical in many practices. So to ensure that guests are being treated appropriately regardless of class, standard behavioural expectations regarding the treatments of guests are typically outlined in Employee Conduct Handbook. Relevant supervisor managers will also monitor general interactions to see that expectations are being met, and these managers and supervisors will also deal with any issues and complaints that could potentially arise. And as we look at Kmart, the business employs people from as young as 15 years of age. So we can understand that it can be quite challenging to train and engage young adults. So the intercultural issue stems from the challenge to communicate with staff due to age and experience. So an example is a young staff member has failed to understand a requirement and essentially goes against protocol. So insufficiently communicating can cause obstructions to the operations, and we know that young staff are usually assigned to managers who ensure that tasks are being carried out appropriately. To further avoid from such disruptions to the business occurring, trainers also need to consider the trainee's experience and age, and to be able to choose the appropriate tools when training staff. So to ensure that learnings are retained and requirements are acknowledged, usually modules and tests are a standard and very helpful tool to solidify the importance of a lot of the requirements. So we know that the consumers of Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart range in age, ethnicity and socioeconomic background. However, the core difference in the likely intercultural issues stem from the actual business structure as well as the target market demographics.
Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart have many similarities between them in terms of technical, legislative and geopolitical change. A technical change that both businesses have experienced is the integration of online workforce management and scheduling platforms. This technological advancement in time scheduling for businesses makes it faster and more effective for both managers and employees. This software allows staff to access their roster, timesheets and unavailability online via a website or an app. Staff also use this software to sign on and off shifts as well as log any breaks that may be had. Kmart uses an internal software, while Tattersalls Hotel uses an external software called Deck. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, both Kmart and Tattersalls Hotel have experienced changes to legislation and regulations within the retail and hospitality industries. These regulations are policed by law enforcement, and businesses face massive fines if seen breaching any of these regulations. Legislation is constantly changing, resulting in businesses needing to keep up to date with what restrictions are currently enforced in their area. These restrictions affect both Kmart and Tattersalls Hotel in a similar way, as it limits the amount of customers either business can have in their venue at any one time. It also enforces that all customers and staff must wear a face mask inside, as well as check in with their state services app. A UK-US security partnership has the potential to affect both businesses in similar and different ways. This new partnership between Australia, the United Kingdom and the United States of America has received a negative response from various countries around the world, including France and China. This negative response has the potential to increase freight costs and negatively affect trade for Australia. A huge portion of products Kmart sells are made in China or with materials sourced from China. This geopolitical change has the potential to negatively affect Kmart if freight costs increase and or trade between the two countries is limited or stopped altogether. Tattersalls Hotel will be affected in a similar way, as a percentage of products the hotel uses and sells is imported from countries around the world such as France. Another way Tattersalls Hotel will be affected by this geopolitical challenge is if China or France restrict international travel to Australia, resulting in a potential decline of clientele.
To conclude, we understand that both business, Tattersalls Hotel and Kmart, have organization structure based on the Matrix organization structure, however in different industry sectors, one in hospitality and the other one in retail industry. But even being so different, they can have similar professional problems, like customer service, poor communication between employees, and many others. When talking about the intercultural problems, each business have their own problems. For example, Tattersalls Hotel, we can think about the discrimination between the socioeconomic backgrounds. Now, in Kmart, we can think about the intercultural problems related to the challenge of communication between different ages and experience. Different issues are likely to happen in each business due to the sector that they are in. Talking about the changes that each business may can have experienced, we can think about the technological change. that makes it more faster and effective to deliver their service to their customers. The legislative change that was during the COVID that each business had to change their working measure for security protocols. And lastly, but not less important, the geopolitical change. That one example can be the nuclear submarine that Australian having carried to contain the China influence. And it can have interference at Kmart products, having in mind that the most part of their products come from China.